Hi, this is Kyle with the Additive Guru channel with a Fusion 360 tutorial on how to model a simple sheet metal part. For sheet metal, of course, we're going to want to go to our sheet metal grouping of commands here. So click on sheet metal heading. And then the first thing we want to do is set up what we call our rules for sheet metal. So go to Modify and Sheet Metal Rules. And you can see over here in the menu box there are a number of materials already set up in the library. We're going to create, or actually just modify, a rule based on the aluminum millimeters rule. Okay, so open that up and you can see the thickness here is 2. We're going to make it 1 millimeter thick, working with some really thin material. And our bend radius for this particular type of aluminum is going to be 3 times the thickness instead of just the thickness. So do the thickness times 3 there. And there's other things that you can change. We'll just focus on this one part for now, just to give an example. Okay, so hit save there. And now that rule is modified with that. What we can also do here is create a new rule. And let's go ahead and click New Rule here. And this is creating a rule based on the aluminum millimeters. And you can see it puts a 1 behind it. We're going to go ahead and rename this completely. Call it Superium. So we've come up with a new material that we're going to attempt. Alright, so we're going to go back to a thickness of 2 millimeters, and bend conditions is going to be thickness times 2. Okay, so hit save there. And you can see it created the Superium right there at the bottom. So that's available to choose. Alright, so hit close there. Now to create a sheet metal part, first thing we want to do, like in most parts, is create a sketch. And we're just going to draw a simple rectangle. Say finish sketch. And if we want to use our rules, we need to use the Flange command here instead of the extrude command. For extrude, you'd have to give it a thickness, and the model would be based on that thickness. So we want to go ahead and use the Flange command. And we need to pick our sketch. Okay. You can see the default here is set up as steel in millimeters. We're going to go over to the aluminum in millimeters, which we know we modified. And you can see it changed to that thinner thickness there of 1 millimeter. Alright, so say OK. And then we are going to create a bent flange. So choose one edge here. And our flange is going to be 20. Now this flange is based on the aluminum millimeters rule that we have set up for this original flange. So everything that we create on this part is going to be based on that sheet metal rule. Alright, so say OK there. And we're going to go create another flange on the other side of the part. Alright, and it's going to be 30. Instead of 90 degrees here, we can go 130 degrees. Say OK. Alright, and let's say we need some holes in this part. We're going to create a sketch on this flange here. And let's just draw a line. And we'll throw some dimensions on there. Okay. Now we're going to put holes at both ends of this line, but we also want to put a hole right in the middle of that line. So go to the point command there, and it'll snap right to the middle of that line and drop a point for us. Alright, that looks good, so let's say finish sketch. And we're going to punch our holes in this part. We need to go back to the... Actually, we can click create here and go to the hole command. It's still in sheet metal. Okay. Go to multiple holes from a sketch, and let's pick our points. Alright. Now I had already been designing with this, and I set my hole diameter to 8 millimeters, and also set my distance extents to, let's say I had a distance in there, but we actually want to go to a surface. So if we rotate this around, we're going to pick this back surface here, so that when we're creating these holes, it will only go through the thickness of the part. And if we have any other features that could end up behind it, it won't affect those features. Alright, and instead of 8 millimeters, let's make that 6. That looks a little better, I think. There we go. Alright, say OK. Alright, so we've got our sheet metal bracket here, and we want to see if this is going to actually work. So let's go to the create flat pattern command. Okay, and it wants us to pick a stationary face. Now it won't let us pick this face here. It wants a face on the outside of the part where you could actually lay the part out flat. So we'll pick this face here and say OK. And Fusion creates our flat pattern of our part. And you can see our bend lines here. These are the extents of the bend line and the center of the bend line. And you can see where we bent it 130 degrees, our extents are wider. So Fusion, if you were laying it out on a drawing, would show that. Okay, so go ahead and hit Finish Flat Pattern. I'll rotate that back around so we can see it. Alright, so let's say that we don't really like this rule that we've set up here, and maybe we're testing the part and it's not working. So let's go ahead and hit Switch Rule, and we'll go to that rule that we created. We're going to try the Superium that we created. So go ahead and click that one and hit OK. Alright, so you can see the part automatically changed to the 2 millimeter thickness, and then the 2 times the thickness, which will be 4 millimeters. So we can measure that and verify that our bend radius is in fact 4 millimeters. Okay. Alright. And you can see I got a little error over here in flat pattern. What it wants me to do is update the flat pattern. So hit update there. And we can go look at that flat pattern by activating it. You can hit that little dot. And you can see our bend radius extents excuse me, are much wider here because we've got a thicker part. Okay. Alright, well, I hope that was informative. Thank you for watching, and check out some of our other great tutorials on the Additive Guru YouTube channel.